Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
And CloudWatch. These are the three services which we'll talk about today, which is being used for, and we'll see that. Okay, we'll start with Cloud first. So let's go with Cloudtrail. Okay, as you can see that the service itself speaks about the stuff. It says that track user activity and API usage. So let me go to that and what it can do. We'll see that part. So Cloudtrail is basically, when you communicate with AWS, also you actually communicate with AWS through set of APIs, right? You communicate with set of APIs, and when you communicate with the as I said, with AWS, you communicate with set of APIs, and your actions, whatever you take to in the account, whatever actions you take with the services, those get recorded under your Cloudtrail. So Cloudtrail is basically the best way to monitor the account activity, or if you wanted to look for what has happened on the account and who has done it, you can go and always choose a Cloudtrail. Okay, so Cloudtrail is the best Cloudtrail is the best option, which will help you out to analyze, or which helps the to to show you the details of all the interaction which a user has done with the you know with the API. So Cloudtrail is basically a AWS service which records the AWS API calls for the complete account. Okay, and deliver log files to you. So that's what happens. So what does it actually means? It means that uh, you know your whatever actions you take, whatever actions with the services you take, if you wanted to verify, or if you wanted to know when the action has happened, who has done the action, what event was triggered, okay, such type of information you wanted to see, any API calls which has been made to access the services, then all those set of actions you can see in the Cloudtrail. Okay, so let's see that. So you go to Cloudtrail and there is an event history. If you click on that, okay, so if you see on the event history, there are a lot of set of things which you see, that what are the event name which has happened, when that happened. Okay, so what was the username which did the actions, what was the event source, what was the event type, what was the resource name, and so on, like region when it has happened, okay, and what was the event ID, and so on. If you think that there are more elements it should show, click on the setting button and you will have a pop-up where you will see that there are a lot of other options you can see. So basically all the information related to the services, where whichever service has been consumed and who did the action. Okay, so for a reconnaissance, right, for a reconnaissance set of actions, you can use this Cloudtrail history option, which gives you the information on different event which has occurred, when it has occurred, and who did that actions, and what was the event which has occurred. Okay, and then there is an option on the drop down on the top right left corner where you see read only. This gives you a sorting option actually. You can even look for a, let's say, for example, someone has did something. So if you know, or you know the username, you wanted to search that what this user or this particular person has done, then there's an option called username. You can look for the username and then you give a username. Hey, I wanted to look for all the action which Raccoon and minus admin has taken. Okay, so if you okay, so if all the actions you will come up with what Rakunan has done, created a subnet, described a subnet, he created a bucket with encryptions and so on, whatever the actions which has been created and done by this particular username, you will get that. And then on the top, you'll also see that it gives you um, time frame as well. If you wanted to look for within 30 minutes what has happened, within an hour what has happened, and so on. Okay, so for the reconnaissance purpose, you can look for the Cloudtrail event, Cloudtrail event history options, where you can see all these actions and interaction of different services from the AWS API calls. Okay, over here you see the custom. You can click on the custom box. This custom over here allows you to give you more um, hours, days, or week wise information. You can also give your custom dates. Let's suppose you wanted to give a log of 6 days, what has happened by and what actions has been taken by the Kunan admin, or any event you wanted to look for, you can see for that. Also, if I click on this cancel. Also, over here on the username, this is not only the username which you can take care of. There are other set of events, set of actions which you can do. You can even look for the things which goes with the event name. You can look for the event source and read only. Okay. So Cloudtrail is basically a service which helps you out to grab you or get you the information of, um, you know, moreover of the all API interaction which has happened with the services of AWS. And if you wanted to grab such information, you will always use a Cloudtrail for the events which has been occurred and what has been occurred and who has done this. Okay, that is one thing. But I'll like to put attention over here, and very important note. Cloudtrail basically does log only the AWS API calls. So make sure that you know it clearly. Second thing is that Cloudtrail always keep the log for 90 days, right? It will keep the logs for 90 days. So if any incident has happened within 90 days, you will get the information. But if the incident has happened before 90 days, you won't get the information over here. Okay. So for the company compliance or the company requirement or the company um, policies, if you wanted to keep that more than 90 days, what you do is you do create a trails. Okay, there's an option called creating a trails. So this trails basically what it do.
Hey viewers, our Mastery in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
So if you click on trails, you will have that option create trail. So when you click on create trail, you will have an option that, hey, you wanted to keep the trail, what type of trail you wanted to keep, and where should I keep the trail. So what will happen that every event or whatever actions or all the interaction of the API logs will go to, all the logs will go to a bucket. Okay, if you have a bucket already created, it won't create new bucket. You can give a bucket name over here, and all the logs, like there's an option, right? You want to create a bucket, or you want to use an existing bucket. So if you create a new bucket, what will happen? It will create a new bucket, and whatever logs came in, all those logs will go into this bucket. Okay, and if you have an existing bucket, you can select that. Okay, so over here, what I will do, I'll write all events. Okay, you can select the event type as well. Like you just want only the management events, you can select only the management events. If you want to have all the events, you can have all the events as well. Okay, so Kanan has a question where we can track applications in AWS. That you can do it in a CloudWatch. Okay, we'll talk to that part. A Cloudtrail is not tracking for the application specific history. It's the event, or it's the interaction of the users with different services through API. It records the AWS API call. For the application specific history, you have to put it inside in CloudWatch logs, or you can create a load balancer before, and you can have load balancer logs into CloudWatch, and there you can keep the application specific history in AWS. Okay, so those who have joined late, I have pinged an IP address on the chat box. If you are a pen tester and you do own a Kali Linux, then run your nmap on the IP address which is there, and let me know what you get. Like you get the ports, you get, or you, if you want to exploit, you can exploit it. It's a public IP address. I have made a machine. You can hit and attack, do whatever you want with that particular IP. Okay. So that's the one thing. Okay, Cloudtrail will be always with the services of the API, right? Whatever you are doing, regarding the interaction services of interaction using with the services through AWS API, that those actions will be recorded. So if you are working as a security engineer on cloud on AWS, then it's very important that sometimes it's very important that you wanted to see what actions has been taken, who made this bucket public. Okay, you wanted to see that, who made that, or let's suppose some security incident has happened, then maybe your manager came to up you, hey, I just wanted to know when this service was open, who made this, what time it was open, and such information you want to see and look upon for the services. Then you can always go for a Cloudtrail to see for the reconnaissance logs of the interaction of users with the AWS services or AWS things. So it records the AWS API calls which has been made. Okay, this is an important service. Then over here you have an option that you can get only management events. Like there are some set of events which are specific to management, creating of, let's say, create a bucket that says management services. So there are management events which you slowly will grab with all those stuff. But if you wanted to keep all that, you can have all, or you can have specific management events. But name is not going to decide whether to copy or gather the management events. We will have an option over here just below, and I'll show you that what that options there are, which will only capture the management events. For now, I wanted to have all events. So I'll say all events. Over here, I'll say create a new bucket for me. Do you want to enable for all accounts in my organization? If I have an organization, I wanted to enable it for everyone so that everyone's logs, Cloudtrail logs, should be created. Also, I would like to make your attention over here that it's a specific Cloudtrail is a, um, it's not a global service. It's a region-based service. So it's, if you enable the Cloudtrail on US East 1, and you're working on US East 2 as well, so you have to enable the US East 2. If you wanted to work on that, you have to enable the US East 2 service as well. Okay, so Cloudtrail is a region-based service. Now, having been said so, let's move ahead, and I want to create a new bucket which should be named as this. Make the encryption enable, yes. That's okay. Create a new KMS, yes. Okay, so additional log file enabled and all that. Do you want to put it into a CloudWatch logs? No, I don't want to put the Cloudtrail logs to CloudWatch logs because I'm already putting the Cloudtrail logs to S3, so I don't want to enable that. You can see the policy document over here if you enable it, but I don't want to do that. Okay, so I'll click on the next button now. Okay, KMS alias I have to write. We'll talk about KMS later on. So I'll write that alias name as Sony. Okay, and then we'll move ahead and click on next. What we are doing, we are creating a Cloudtrail trail. So here you have an option, right? You want only management events, you want all data events, you want insight events. So I want everything, so I'll select everything. And then, yeah, management events, read and write. We can have data events, go to S3, read and write, and all that stuff. I would say yes, create that, and next. Okay, once it's done, click on create trail. Okay, So now what will happen, all your logs are, it's been enabled and it's been created. Also, it's a paid service. So before you enable it, make sure that you know the price of that. There's a AWS, there's a link, I'll give you a link where you can calculate the price, what service if you use, then how much money you'll have to pay for that. Okay, so over on the services, if you go, and if you, as we have created a S3 bucket, if you click on that, I want to show you, um, you know, if we the bucket has been created or not. Okay, so I'll go to S3 service, and over on the screen you can see there's an AWS Cloudtrail log file. This bucket has been created automatically, and if you click to open it, you'll have AWS logs over here on the object. If you click to open that, you'll have the account ID. If you click to open that, you'll have a Cloudtrail digest. If you open that, you have Cloudtrail started coming up 2020.
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
You know, this is how it is a prefix, and it's how they created to 2020 11 to 11 is the month, and 05 is the date. So 5 is the date of today's, I believe. So today it's going to start, and we'll have a logs coming up on the objects over here very soon. Okay, so all this is how you can keep the logs for a longer period of time. You see that these logs have been coming up, and it's a json.gz files. Okay, so it will keep coming over, and you will have those insertion on the over here itself. So all the Cloudtrail logs has been coming up like this. Okay, so basically if you wanted to keep the logs for a longer period of time, like as I said, in the event history you will have only the log around around for 90 days. But if you want to keep the logs for more than 90 days, then you use this trail option. Okay, but trail option is a payable service. So if you create a trail, that you will have to pay for that. So make sure that you know the price first, and then you enable this service. Okay, so that was about Cloudtrail, guys. Cloudtrail is basically nothing but AWS API interactions call that has been made by a user, and that's how it's been created and it's been maintained. Okay, so you go to event history to see that you have trails. Okay, if you wanted to look for the trails and all that options. Okay, having been said, so there are 2 and 3 things that you have to keep in your mind. Cloudtrail logs only the API call details for the services. To Cloudtrail only gets, also one more thing is over here. Cloudtrail only gives you, there are some supported services whose logs Cloudtrail will make. Okay, not all the services logs actually Cloudtrail makes, but there is a list of services which it makes. So let me show you that service. So we can go to this area. This is a document of AWS Amazon, which gives you the Cloudtrail supported services, which is almost yeah, it's been removed or what, which is almost everything. So you can look for Cloudtrail supported service just like that. AWS Cloudtrail supported, yeah, services. Okay, so that will give you the list of services logs which Cloudtrail keep on. Okay, so which is almost everything like Connect, Athena, Certificate Manager. You see the top services, AWS services topics for Cloudtrail. So it actually covers maximally all of the interactions: code pipeline, code star, Cognito, data pipeline, and so on. Okay, so almost everything it supports, right? And you have everything's cloud. You will get all the logs of almost everything on the Cloudtrail. So here's the stuff, like this list of supported topics. I'll ping this on the chat box for the reference. Okay. Cool. Okay, so that's about Cloudtrail, guys. So this is what Cloudtrail can do. Okay, can be used for. This is a supported, and we saw that how which all services it supports. Now, what we get the information as you saw the identity of the API caller, who's making the API call, the time the API call has made, the source IP address, okay, and the API caller, and also right. So all those information you will get it over on the Cloudtrail. Um, now, what Cloudtrail cannot log, I'll also like to drag your attention on. As I said, it will always log only the AWS API calls, which has been there on the which you make on the AWS. But what it cannot log is like it cannot log when you do an SSH login with your EC2 instances. So such type of when you do SSH login with your EC2 instance, Cloudtrail is not going to log that part, because SSH login is not a login where you use a AWS API services calls in order to do a login on EC2. So those type of thing it's not going to log, and it's only going to log the AWS API interaction of users with the with the services. Okay, cool. So that's the Cloudtrail, guys. There's one more service called config service. If you click on that, let it get open. Okay, it's not enabled yet for me, so I'll just do it over here. Let me just use existing config. Choose a bucket from your account, create whatever config bucket. Yeah. Create that, and then next. Okay, so do you want to skip the rules? Let's skip that rule stuff for now and config confirm. So what is AWS config? We'll see that part as well. Specify. Okay, let me go to settings. Okay, and record all resource supported in this region. Create a bucket for me. Stream configuration changes, whatever. Create a bucket, create a role. I don't want to specify any rules. I skip that part and confirm. Okay, so what is a security point of operation or security engineers on AWS? This is a very important service on the top again. Come on. Okay, so what is that? First of all, AWS config, can act as a.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
What does first we wanted to know what is AWS config and what does it do? Well, AWS config is a service that enables you to assess, audit, and evaluate. Okay, three things: assess, audit, and evaluate the configuration of your AWS resources. Config basically continuously monitor and records your AWS resource configuration and allows you to automate the evaluation of recorded configuration against the desired configuration. Now, what does this mean? Okay, it means that think of configuration AWS config has almost like a security camera you can think of. Okay, it's a recording inside your entire AWS environment, and it tells you, it can tell the things like, hey, look, you have a security group with port 22 that's open to the world. And the cool thing about it is then you can jump back in time and you can say, hey, well, when did that security group get open? When did port 22 get open to the world? Okay, so look, and also like, hey, look, your Charlie C from finance went in and changed that on this date. And AWS config is a way, basically, a recording the configuration of your AWS environment. And you can jump back in time and look at points in time to see what the exact configuration was at that certain date. And you can also see when users change it. And you can even configure AWS config to go in. And if a user opens up a port 22 to the world, config will remediate that and can go in and fix it and lock it back again to the required or desired configuration. So AWS config is really, really powerful, and we we will see that how it can act as an inventory service as well. You can see all the resources which is being used, and in your service, in your account, what all are the services which follows the compliance or which does not follow the compliance. You can configure SNS. You can do engineering around in order to, if there is a security compliance event has occurred, you wanted to remediate at the same time. That type of actions you can do very easily with the AWS config. So right now it was not enabled, so I enabled the AWS config. Actually, it enables your compliance auditing. We can do security risk analysis, we can do resource tracking, and it provides with the configuration snapshot. It logs config changes of AWS resources, and it basically also allows you to automate and do the compliance automate checking. Yeah, and this is what it completely do is with the AWS config, right? You have a set of rules over here. When you see on the screen right now, it's still discovering the resources which is there. And once it discovers that, we'll have a set of rules. Okay, let it discover it, and we're not going to do anything on this. It will automatically discover and will give us a set of resources. And on the right hand side, you see that how many over here are compliance rules, how many are non-compliance. Okay, so to see that effectively working, we click on add rule. Okay, so config is basically checks your compliance. There are some 634 rules which has been already written. Like for an example, your bucket is open. Okay, so your bucket is publicly open. How config will automatically give you a list of the, hey, your bucket is open publicly. It should not be open. Okay, so that part of thing it can do. So you can click on add rule, and if you want to add such type of rules, you click on add rule, and you can see that pattern open already. So let it come up. So there are some rules which AWS manages, and you can select those compliance rules. Hey, I want this compliance rules to be applied on my entire compliance rules to be applied on my account, so that it checks whether the service is following a compliance or not. Compliance compliance standard. We have a PCI DCS compliance standards, and all those set of rules which are already written on it are already available over here in the managed rules. We'll see that part. If even if you think that because your company has a other customization and other things you wanted to keep a rule on, let's say you want to get alerted when you wanted to not get alerted, but you want to remediate whenever people whenever people try to create an RDS, they will skip the steps and should not be created. You can add your own custom rules into it, right? You can add the custom rules over here. You can click on add custom rule. So when you click on add custom, it allows you to write your own rule, write your rule name, write your description. But all this rule will, what will happen if suppose such type of event occur, let's say create RDS instance, that is an event. Okay, if that event occurs, that particular event is going to trigger this rule, but who will okay, who will remove or remediate, or who will be responsible for remediating the actions, like who will be responsible for making sure that the RDS instance does not get created, and that particular who is your Lambda. Okay, so there's a Lambda function, or there's a service in AWS which is called Lambda Service. In Lambda Service, we actually involve our engineers to write a code in particular language in order to do the actions. Okay, so the actions will be taken care by Lambda. So you have to create a Lambda. If it's already created, you'll just have to put the AWS resource, your ARN over here. So once the ARN is over here, if let's suppose create RDS event triggers, that will trigger this rule, whichever you will write over here, and that particular rule is going to trigger the Lambda. Okay, and that Lambda is going to do the engineering, like the code is going to do the remediation or notify or any other stuff. Okay, and then this rule will take care of. Okay, there's a two type of trigger type, like you see, trigger type periodic, trigger type configuration change. So trigger type periodic, that means it will run periodically and will look for such events if that has occurred. If you say configuration change, that means whenever such event occurs. Okay, so what resource, you see that what resource you want to put it. So resource type, and let's say resource type is AWS, or sorry, RDS or alarm or code build or pipeline or dynamo.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.